Hey look, Harold Perrineau's in the credits. That probably doesn't mean anything. After seasons 2 and 3 opened by trying to trick us that something was happening somewhere else in the world when it was actually on the island, season 4 reverses it, first appearing to be on the island before revealing that it's not. Unfortunately, rather than a whole morning routine, it seems all they could think of to accomplish this is a very awkward shot of a bunch of fruit before giving the game away. Jack sees the police chase on the news. Hey, there's only one guy named Jack on TV who gets to say that, and it sure as hell isn't you. Maybe Bristow, but not you. The guy the cops are chasing turns out to be Hurley, who shouts that he's one of the Oceanic Six. And Randy shows up just to videotape this. There's a wasted cameo for you. After exposition that he appeared to freak out over nothing in a convenience store, we see that Hurley's being interrogated by none other than Mike, Ana Lucia's partner, and this will never mean anything. Then he has a vision of Charlie making the room flood. I'll get back to that. For now, Mike is convinced to commit him. After a while in the nut house, Hurley is visited by Matthew Abaddon, played by Lance Reddick. You're probably expecting a Fringe joke out of this, and screw that, he will always be Cedric Daniels from The Wire and no one else. Fringe is still awesome, though. He pretends to be a lawyer for a while, but then drops it and just asks Hurley, are they still alive? Hurley reacts about as well as you'd expect, and he just leaves. Next, Hurley is told by another patient that someone is staring at him and, no, they promised we were done with him. As Hurley is just as horrified as me by this turn of events, since this is what he saw in the store that led to that car chase, Charlie proves he's real by slapping him, which really shouldn't count for much since Dave did the same thing and look how that turned out.
I'm here, you're being a baby.
Shut up, Ghost Charlie. So just to be clear, this is real. Hurley is in fact talking to a dead person, something he will continue to do for the rest of the show. You might think that the show will eventually explain what happened during those last several days on the island that gave him this ability, and you would be wrong. They wanted someone to talk to ghosts, so they just assigned the power to Hurley, apparently completely at random. And why could that other guy see him? Also not explained. Jack visits Hurley before his Grizzly Adams phase, and this time Hurley is the one trying to convince him they need to go back to the island, so that gives us plenty to chew on. And you've probably been wondering about this, so yes, I am going to keep doing the off-island stories first, even though they're now happening after the island stories, because it's just more convenient to how I put these things together. And now, back to the island. Kate is sent to look for Locke and fails miserably, because she sucks. This lets Matthew Fox look as pathetic as usual as he tries to sell Jack vowing to kill him. Rose tells Claire in so many words to fuck Charlie's brains out when he gets back, which is just as awkward as it sounds. And Ben tells Danielle to take Alex as far away as she can.
I will not have my daughter.
She's not your daughter.
Yeah, what the hell were you thinking there, Ben?
I want to do a cannonball. I've been walking up and down this beach every day and looking out at this water, and I want to do a cannonball.
Hurley, you want to do a cannonball? Cannonball.
Okay, that was odd. Actually, this is all a big inside joke because this is exactly what Jorge Garcia did after the pilot was completed, and it's here because wackiness? Desmond gets back and starts going on about how they shouldn't call the boat, but of course he also has to break the news about Charlie, and we get a reaction shot from everyone, including Jin, which just makes me wonder how much of this he's actually getting. Jack is called by George Minkowski, the same guy he talked to at the end of the last season, and he turns out to have the same power as Bernard of having a completely different voice over radio. Okay, obviously this is because the guy who did the voice before was just a placeholder before they actually cast someone for this season, but you'd think there would be some effort to getting a guy who sounded similar. And then Naomi's body disappears right when Minkowski starts asking about her, so failure all around then. Sawyer is a complete idiot all of a sudden and wants to call Jack despite Saeed's warning that the people on the boat are probably monitoring their calls. It's all an obvious patch job because the writers didn't want these guys to have a walkie-talkie anymore, as the whole thing leads to Hurley throwing it into the ocean. Everything was planned, huh? Danielle and Kate find two separate blood trails, to which Jack insists that Naomi couldn't possibly be making a fake trail, because I guess he's forgotten all about Ethan doing just that. And why is he so sure that Danielle's is the one to follow instead of Kate's? I just answered my own question, didn't I? The artificial writing for Sawyer is made even clearer when he becomes about as nice as he's ever been as he tries to talk to Hurley about Charlie. And then Hurley gets lost and runs into Jacob's cabin. The blood trail Danielle found is revealed to be fake, and don't you feel a little silly now, Jack? He also discovers the phone is gone, and Ben reveals that Kate swiped it, which he kept quiet about to get back at Jack for beating him up.
She found the right trail, too, but you wouldn't listen to her, so I guess she's taken matters into her own hands. But look on the bright side, at least somebody around here knows what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, I gotta give him that one. Over with Kate, Minkowski calls again, and she handles it just as badly as you'd expect. She's then attacked by Naomi, who's pretty upset about, getting a knife in her back for absolutely no reason after doing all she could to get everyone rescued. When Minkowski calls again, she tells him to tell her sister she loves her and dies for real. That was worth keeping the actress around for another season. Back to Hurley, where I'll just describe exactly what happens. He sees one guy in the cabin, then another guy looks out the window and sees him, so he runs away, only for the cabin to somehow be in front of him again. So he closes his eyes and it's gone when he opens them. And no, we never find out what the hell is going on with this, but I'll be nice and consider it part of the same why can he talk to ghosts question. Then he runs into Locke, who is naturally quite happy to hear about the Not Penny's boat thing. Because he didn't know about it before, so there's only one thing left to conclude. He killed Naomi just because he felt like it. And this is the guy we're supposed to be agreeing with, I just want to remind you. They get back to the rest of the group, and Locke asks for their help to try to convince Jack again.
You want my support? You can tell me why you destroyed that submarine.
And of course, Jack and everyone else turn up to save Locke from having to answer that, because there is no answer that makes him look anything but bad, and we can't possibly have that. Hurley steps up to tell Claire about Charlie, highlighting something I've been meaning to talk about for a while, the gradual sidelining of Claire. Besides having just one flashback in each season, as the show went on, she kept on getting less and less to do, even when by all rights she should have had a major role. Like right here, her love interest has been killed, and who gets the big emotional shot over that? Not her, but Hurley. And it'll just get worse, trust me. There's more reaction shots, and I especially love Locke's. Oh yeah, death. I guess some of you people still care about that. Then Jack knocks Locke down and takes his gun, only to discover it's not loaded. Told you that would be explained. Although you'd think Jack actually pulling the trigger with full intent to kill would make him a bit darker than the writers are obviously comfortable with, and according to some early reviews I've read, there was originally a line where Locke pointed this out, but they wimped out and it's not in the final episode. I can't even pretend to be surprised. Everyone shares their information, including that Naomi is dead, and Locke has the gall to claim that all he's ever done has helped everyone, except the ones who were sacrifices that the island demanded, right? And I noticed that you don't seem to have accepted that you were one of those. Again, the guy we're supposed to be rooting for.
She wants her people to come here. And trust me, when they do, we had better be far away from here.
Why do you think that? Locke says he's going to the Dharma village, and Charlie's last message is enough to get Hurley to join him, which is really just another excuse to give him the emotional reaction that Claire deserves, but it's enough to convince Claire, Danielle, Alex, Carl, a bunch of red shirts, and finally Sawyer, which Kate is just shocked about. Oh, now you care about him, huh? Maybe Jack would like to hear about it during your next sack time.
You said we never leave the island. If you want to go with Locke, I'll be right behind you.
I'm not going anywhere with that man.
Thank you, true voice of the audience. Hurley has completely forfeited that title as far as I'm concerned. And this is indeed the last time Rose and Bernard and Desmond will ever see Locke, which really makes me feel good inside. And then Jack and Kate are suddenly alone. What makes you think I know? They hear a helicopter and a man parachutes down, the first member of the others. Collect the whole set.
Are you Jack?
My score for the beginning of the end is 10 out of 10. It's already very clear how much the writing is helped by having a set end date to work towards, as rather than just pile on more mystical mumbo-jumbo that doesn't make any more sense than anything else like they've done so far, we get some tightly connected and very concrete new mysteries. Somehow only 6 people got off the island, or at least that's what the rest of the world thinks, and at this point we only know who 3 of them are. And how is Hurley one of them when he went with Locke instead of Jack? All of these are rather more effective hooks than the big question of the Season 3 finale, guess who's dead out of almost every single person who's ever been on the show. Seasons 2 and 3 had really tested my patience, but this premiere really got me hooked again. That wouldn't last, but it's still a great opening act for the show's new era.